And if I had to be another person to stand up, if I think, after really going through this, and looking at the files and looking at the case, if I really feel that Karen Reed didn't do this and I have to be a voice that stands up and helps, I will.
We are expecting to learn more about the allegations against the girlfriend of a Boston police officer who was found unresponsive in the snow Saturday morning. I-Team sources say Karen Reed was in a relationship with John O'Keefe. She's facing charges including motor vehicle homicide and manslaughter.
We're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
Now, just be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life.
Yeah.
I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
Why'd you admit to it?
She didn't admit to it. She didn't admit to anything close to that. Nothing close to that. And you should know that.
That was like 3 or 4 times she admitted to it.
No, she didn't.
That's not true.
She asked a question. She asked a question, which is very different. She didn't admit to anything.
I'm going to tell you one thing. Karen Reed's not going to fold. Karen Reed's not going to give up. Defense team's not going to quit. The Free Karen Reed movement is going to continue. We will continue to raise funds for her. We will continue to do standouts across Massachusetts, across the nation, across the world to let everybody know what's going on here in the state of Massachusetts, the corruption. And we will continue to get the word out there. Believe me. Believe me. All right. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to LTL Media. This is Let's Talk Live, and tonight is Wednesday. We had a very long, insufferable day with Dr. Welcher on the stand under cross with Robert Alessi. Oh, my God. Twitter must have been blowing up today. And I know I was frustrated. I posted a video at one point, like, listening to Welcher's testimony. If you didn't catch it, I posted it up on Facebook, and I also posted it up on X, and I had a lot of people laughing. Actually, Jess, that I'm going to bring in a moment, was like, I just had to watch that video over and over and was just cracking up. But anyway, welcome in, everybody. Make sure to smash the like button when you come in today. And you're all smart cookies, because I'm watching the chat, and I do believe that Welcher was looking at his watch as well, too. And it was almost at the very end of court today. Did you notice during the voir dire, he looked down at his watch and was like checking the time or checking something, like he couldn't be bothered to be there. But I don't want to talk about this alone. I want to bring in my amazing guest that joins me on Wednesday nights for the Wednesday Night Rundown with independent reporter and sometimes courtroom insider. We're going to get into that tonight too. Jess Machado, welcome back to the Wednesday Night Rundown on LTL.
Hi, bestie.
Jess, it's been a while. I know you didn't feel well last week. My allergies in full bloom today.
Yes.
What is going on? And we're going to get into Welcher. We're going to get into the courtroom randomizer and some other few things. But how have you been?
I missed everybody. I missed you. I hate to cancel, but I was down and out last week, and also a little depressed too. So like not feeling physically well, but like pretty bummed out about not having access to the courtroom. And, you know, I'm so invested in this trial the way you and everybody else that's watching is. It was really kind of like getting to me. You know, I was feeling pretty deflated. So it was a good mental health week, you know, to like stay at home and reset and get better. And so I'm feeling great. And I know we're going to talk about the randomizer, but yeah, I mean, you know, for someone like me, I want to be in the courtroom or at least be there. And there wasn't a pathway to that. And that's very frustrating. So, but I am excited to be back. I did actually, so for anybody who's watching, as we're backstage, Brian's like, So like, did you watch any of Welcher's testimony today? And I was like, a little bit. I was like, but to be honest, I watched more of your reenactment than anything, because I scrolled through my feed and here's Brian, and he's just like doing this like great impression of, you know, the witness. And I was like, that is actually what it sounded like to me. It was like snooze fest. So yeah, it was an interesting day. Admittedly, I didn't watch much of it, but I know that you'll fill me in for sure.
Oh, we're going to get into it. And I love, and we're going to get through some fabulous tweets. I have my presentation. I'm going to pull up in a minute. Fabulous tweets from around the world tweeting about this guy. But just to, before we, I got to let you know, I found something out today. I was very privileged today to go over to the courthouse. Well, I didn't make it to the courthouse, but I did make it in to go see Karen during the lunch break. And I got to bring my friend Lauren with me. We went in and sat with Karen for about 40 minutes during the break. I was talking to Nathan Reed, and guess what? This is his favorite segment on my channel every Wednesday night. He said, "Are you on with Jess tonight?" He said, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm going to be watching." He makes.
I don't know what it is about. Like, I don't know what it is about the Reeds. Like, take away the fact that we're in the middle of a murder trial. Like, just take away that. Let's forget about that for a minute. There's something like so familiar about this family. I don't know. And they're not Portuguese. They're Italian. I thought they were Portuguese. So I thought Fall River, Portuguese, like that was the connection. Yep. There's just something about them. You know, I'm known for being like a little bit of a mom snob, like in my community. Like, my circle of moms are people that I feel have the same values and raise our children the same way. And I think with Janet Reed, I found some of that. She was a stay-at-home mom, and they have a lot of value on like their family unit. And I'm just like, I really just love these people from an outsider. I can't imagine being friendly with them or close to them the way that some people are. Even you, Brian, you get to be around them. That's just real stuff. You know what I mean? Like, the more you talk to them and the more I see them, they're just really, I think, great people in an extraordinarily difficult, bad situation. So hi to Nathan Reed and the rest of the Reed family.
Yeah, I had a really great opportunity. The time I got to go sit in trial about 4 weeks ago now, and on the way over to lunch, I got to really, talk with Nathan about him and his family and their core values and things that they celebrate. And I thought it was—
Don't talk too much about it, Brian, because everybody will say that they're just using the media and the social media influencers to create the narrative, and make sure, like, be careful.
Of course, but it is who they are. And I've said this every time. Every single time I've had the opportunity to be around them or meet them and be brought into their circle for, maybe a couple hours a day, they treat me and they treat everybody that comes in that room the same exact way. I walked into the room today. It's like all the powerful lawyers there. And all of a sudden, like, I wasn't even in the room 8 seconds, and Robert Alessi comes right up to me and just starts talking. "Oh, hey, how are you?" And, I was telling him, "You've inspired me. I've changed my diet." We go into like these whole diet talks.
Did he like take out the guns? Is it like all about the gun show? Like, I saw this picture of Alessi and his like arms, and I'm like, what? That does not translate in my brain, because when I see him in court, he doesn't look that way. But like, sun's out, guns out, he's like jacked underneath there. Who knew?
And just having that conversation, and David gets involved, and Alan, and they're just so warm and welcoming people. They are literally the same people, and I'm not just saying this because they are literally the same people every time I come in contact with them. And it's just it's a wonderful thing. It makes you feel good, and makes us feel good about what we're doing here anyway. Yes,
great point.
And, here's a little tidbit and a little piece of information. Robert Alessi never sleeps. From what I've been told, when everybody is like going to bed for the night, he stays up and continues to do research on the case. And then he literally goes out, from what I've heard, at like 4 o'clock in the morning. He does his workout, he comes back and sleeps like 3 or 4 hours, and then they're in court.
I think you mentioned this the last time we were on, and it just happens again, but I feel like I'm getting the vision of like Batman. Like, he's just like hanging from the rafters, like, just for a couple hours to get some. I mean, listen, these guys are in a marathon case. Obviously, it's round 2, and it was an extraordinary, long case last time around. I think it sounds like we're going to see a shorter version of this trial in round 2. But I mean, just think about the sacrifice that these guys have made, and all the whole team overall. But I mean, I feel like we're watching something historic. We're adjacent to something, I think, that's going to, go on down in history books. And, it's right up there with, these bigger trials, the OJ trial, the, Aaron Hernandez trial, all of it. I mean, it's right there. I also, we touched a little bit about it, and I won't talk too long. This trial, this round 2, is so invested in like culture right now. Like, it is everywhere. There are so many TikTokers putting videos out. It is on every stream that my kids come across, like my youngest daughter who's 16 to my oldest who's 24, everybody in between. There's also a subculture of men that are so invested in this. So I'll just say this, my daughter got engaged this weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. She just graduated. She got her master's like 2 weeks ago, and then she got engaged on this weekend. But we were at like this big engagement party, and all of these guys, older men, were like, "Let me give me your theory. What do you think?" And then I was like, "Well, you tell me what you think." They all think she's innocent. But I'm so fascinated with like this new facet of people that are interested in this case, especially these men who it's, you don't take them for soap opera guys or guys that are interested in like, things going on in pop culture and stuff, but this has really caught their attention.
Yeah. And keep in mind, you're a source of that information that branched off and started this. Obviously, Aiden broke the case, but you've been contributing as well. So you're part of that first wave. We're all kind of lumped in that first wave and all these amazing creators that have picked up this and stayed with it. I mean, I'm almost a year and a half into this, and you are as well. You're invested in this, and we've kind of spawned off that wave to get this across the planet and let people know what's going on. So super awesome accomplishment, and it is cool to see like everybody's different take on it. And just even in pop culture, when you start seeing some of these really big channels that might drop something and say, "Oh, Karen Reed," and you're like, "What the fuck?" Like they said something about this. So it is cool. It's cool.
Everywhere.
Yes. And Kara saying, "Jess, you are very appreciated." And I believe that as well too. Let me get a couple of these in. Let's see. Joanne, thank you. She said, 4-month member, said I'm excited for tonight's stream. We have Kristen White. It's become a new YouTube member. Thank you for supporting the channel. Listless recipient, $5 Canadian, says, "I wanted to throw every gadget on the witness stand laptop and that laptop out the window." And then Olaf, the Russian metalhead, thanks for the 2. So the lefty hangs from the courtroom at the fan at night. I love that.
Somebody send me that screenshot of that comment to my inbox. I need to preserve that for the rest of my life. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, someone clip that and send it to Jess.
Thank you. I love it.
Let's talk about Welcher a little bit. I think we can start this off with a little small clip of video to see how much of a fucking knob this guy was today. And believe me, this is all done by design. And I was saying this actually to Karen today as she's like walking back to go out, and go back to court. I said, this guy is going to be essentially a cock piece because they know that this is where the case is going to ride on right now. I think this is the most pertinent witness. I mean, they've already shredded Man Shannon, that works for Aperture. Now here's the executive vice president of Aperture. So that he's that guy's boss, and that guy already fucked up because of his resume credentials. So he's going to fix all of that. This guy is going to be a complete knob, and he's just going to try to put this defense through paces. And it's all, under the direction of Hank Brennan. And by the way, here's something creepy as fuck. This guy goes out and buys the exact same clothes as John O'Keefe and plays cosplay with that. I mean, that is creepy as fuck. And he's a knob. I mean, he's just a knob.
I've been trying to find through the comments. Who's footing the bill for that? Who's financing this cosplay, so to speak? Who's funding this?
Commonwealth. They paid Aperture, and they were getting to it today. Aperture's been paid close to almost $400,000.
So what's going to happen to the other Lexus? Is that going to go up for auction? Can somebody I mean, this is pretty crazy, actually. I'll let you get to it, but there's a couple of questions I have that you can probably answer for me, or your viewers can. But I have some questions.
Yep. What's the questions?
Oh, I thought you were going to show the video.
Oh, I'll play it. Yeah, I can do that. Let's play that first.
So there's this reenactment, right, of this car going forward, going backward. My question is, like, where is Higgins' Jeep in all of that? Like, you know, okay, she went forward, she went backwards, she went past the point of where she started. All of this time, John's actually moving. Like, does somebody actually think that while she went forward and then went backward, that John was just standing there watching her and just waiting to get hit? Like, none of this equates in my brain, and I'm really trying to look at it from the other perspective, and I don't understand the vehicle being able to go backwards that quickly. Isn't there a stop point where it can't go over a certain mile per hour backwards? Like, how is anybody believing this, I guess, is where I'm at.
Well, apparently, according to him, every human being walks around like this.
Right.
With their arm out, because that's how they have to fucking prove that he got clipped, not hit, fucking clipped. And they're trying to say that his arm in this position, when Karen supposedly hit him with the taillight, hit him and backed up to him, that's what exploded the fucking taillight. Jess, you know, and I know, on any fucking planet, that doesn't add up at all. It just doesn't add up.
It didn't add up last year. When you look at that sweatshirt and the puncture marks in the sweatshirt, and then the gashes on his arm, and the testimony, which is, you know, he got hit and pushed back. None of this makes sense. And all I can hope is that there is one person on that jury that doesn't make alternate, that is actually sitting on the jury, that retains all of this information and says, this is impossible. Not only doubt, not even doubt, like, this is just impossible. And I'm not going to give up my ground, you know, and I know we haven't got to that point yet, but at some point we're going to be thinking about the dynamic in the jury room and deliberations and potential bullying and people trying to pressure people into doing something, as we heard about the last time. So, you know, when I get back into the courtroom, I can't wait to kind of reassess these jurors again, and see, you know, it's been a couple weeks. What do they look like now? Are they more comfortable? The people that are in the courtroom right now that are, you know, not giving us much about these jurors, we're not hearing anything. So I think it's, I don't know. This just seems unbelievable testimony, and it just doesn't. The square peg doesn't fit in the round hole when it comes to these theories.
It's confirmation bias is what it is. And you're reenacting these experiments because you're taking the end result and you're trying to go forward, you know, in that direction to prove the result. You can't do that. That's not how science works. And you're not using data, and you're not using numbers and data to make this all work. You're just coming up with a theory, and your theory is bullshit. You're backing up at 2 miles an hour, but you say that the accident happened at 24. So how can you correlate that the experiment that you do is going to be the precise experiment to a 24-mile-an-hour crash? It doesn't make any sense. It would not equal that impact. Hitting something at 2 miles an hour and 24 miles an hour is completely different. And Archer proved that last trial. They talked about it. We shot the cannon at this speed, then that speed, then this speed. This guy didn't do it. He just formulated an experiment because he knew, you know, from what his theory is that John was hit by Karen's SUV, the taillight exploded, and that's how the scratches got on him, and he ended up dead. That's what he's trying to recreate. And I urge everybody, go back, watch The Staircase on Netflix, look at Dwayne Deaver. This guy did the same shit to people and put a ton of people behind bars that were innocent. And come to find out, they exposed this guy, and there was a guy on The Staircase that ended up getting out after like 17 years in prison on DNA evidence that he wasn't even at fucking near the same planet of the crime scene, and they tried whacking this guy on it. So it's I think
what you were trying to say, and I have the idea of it in my head, is they're basically taking what they need the answer to be and working backwards from that and creating this story and getting really creative. And I mean, obviously we're going to give credit to Hank. He is doing a better job than Lally did. Lally would never do this. He would never have them kind of put this thing, would never sign off on somebody putting blue paint on their arm and reenacting this. So, props to Brennan for bringing the next level of, prosecution above Lally. It's not saying much, but still. But I wonder, like, is this convoluting everything? Is it getting a little confusing? And even at the end of the day, I don't know what it is. I've never touched a piece of taillight before. I've touched one on the back of a car, like you touch it or whatever. Like, I've never touched one, but like in my mind, this is a very thick, chunky, plasticky thing. Like, I'm not getting shards. I'm not getting sharp. I'm not getting, slicing. I'm getting rounded nubs of like chunky, clunky plastic. How the fuck is that cutting through a sweatshirt and puncturing an arm while it's spinning him around? And like, and that's just this one piece. We're not talking about all of the other things. So,
according to him, when it hit, it exploded. And then that's
I can't even hear you say it. I can't even hear you say exploded without even like giggling because it's so ridiculous.
I don't even think you could hit that thing with a baseball bat and it would explode like that. Probably break into pieces.
We should try it. We should do our own reenactment.
Those taillights are made to take the abuse of the road because they're going to fucking get rocks and sticks are going to hit it. And, it's made to be on a fucking road. Like, those things just don't break, like you said, like a brittle pretzel. It doesn't happen. It doesn't
Even
happen.
if it does, I can't imagine. Remember I said this was my piece for everything last year? It was the arm. It was the arm and these things going through the sweatshirt and looking at that sweatshirt and going, there's just absolutely no way. So, yeah.
Yeah. Let me get to a couple of these super chats. Let me just get these out of the way. Dr. Russell's gasps. $20 says we need the new state auditor to inquire into the NCDAO. I don't know what that is.
I just talked to Diana DeZoglio last week, actually, and that woman is like the Energizer Bunny. She never stops. She is constantly doing something, but I think she's got her hands full, unfortunately, right now.
Yeah, Stephanie Flynn, thank you for the 10 pounds. LTL and Jess, I have some info. The question about wound is what I gave Bob as I contacted via email, and he spoke about everything I talked about. That's awesome. Maybe they're taking some suggestions and looking at some different things. El Diablo $2 says I had to break out the edibles before I lost it today. That's awesome. Hey, if you want to do that stuff, have at it. Johnny O $10 says question for Nurse Kim. Well, that's not Nurse Kim. That is Jess. Does the wound pattern suggest vertical slashes rather than? You might be in the wrong chat. You might be in the wrong chat, but I appreciate your super chat.
I can take a go at that, Brian, if you want. I'm just kidding.
Jess, you're a nurse, right?
Yeah, I play one on TV.
Scooter, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. All right, let's play some fucking knob here. I'm gonna play like 2 or 3 minutes in this, and then we'll go to my my presentation. This guy's a knob.
Do you recall whether Aperture do you believe Aperture is working for free in this matter?
Oh, no, I don't believe that. No,
So
we're an engineering company. We bill for our time.
So you know that Aperture is getting paid for its work in this case, correct?
We are billing for our analysis work.
Well, you're not just billing, you're billing and getting paid, correct?
So I have not seen any of the payments. I would assume that we're getting paid, but I don't know that.
Sir, you are a senior vice president of Aperture, are you not?
I am.
You would know, wouldn't you, if your firm was not getting paid for work since September 23rd of 2024, wouldn't you?
No, probably not. Usually it takes, 9, 10, 12 months of not getting paid before the accounting department reaches out to me.
Exactly. So you've been on this for 2.5 years. So if it would take 9 months or 12 months, if you weren't getting paid, you would have been notified by that by now, correct? According to your own answer you just gave.
I've not been on this case for 2.5 years.
I'm sorry, sir. Let me go back to the question of payment.
Hold on. You said I've been on this case for 2.5 years. I was retained in September 17th-ish of 2024. So that's what, less than a year ago.
Understood. I'm moving on to the next question because I want to move away from that discussion and just go right to the bill.
Oh,
Fuck you, Brian.
All day with this guy.
I don't deserve that. Your viewers don't deserve it. We don't need, I can't. What do you want me to do with that?
He says to Robert, you hold on. What the fuck?
I have nothing to say to that. I have nothing to say.
All right, let's get into this presentation. Again, Jess, thanks for popping in. Wednesday night rundown with Jess. Sometimes Courtroom Insider.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. So we have the tale of two Welchers. He's nice, all cleaned up there. Comes into court, got to get the beard, the tough guy routine on. Didn't he look so sweet when he was all cleaned up?
Which one? Those are AI. That's AI.
No, that's on his Aperture website photo.
Yeah. See, you know what? I'm gonna push back on you on that. If you go to like that first slide and it's like me, that's not what I look like. And I remember the day you're like, oh, you're gonna come on my show. Okay, look at me. I don't have a wrinkle on my face. My eyes look very attractive there. Listen, I understand sometimes for professional reasons, people want to make themselves look better. That's all he was doing. He was giving himself a glow up. He was, he was doing a little Photoshop. It's okay. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I love it.
Look at this. I mean, it's not me. Go ahead.
So I had to go around because the fucking world was on fire today about this guy. And I wanted to pull out some funny ones here. Aiden Carney, Judson Welcher's a piece of shit. I love that one. And then we have Judd Welcher's finger painting studio. Quote, Dr. Welcher, are you in court today? Well, let me put it this way. Mark Betterow says, Dr. Welcher is without question the most insufferable expert witness I've ever seen. Brandy Churchwell, Welcher reminds me of my ex-husband. He's condescending, pompous, bossy as fuck, talks over everyone else, and gaslights the hell out of you with everything.
I agree with that. I was getting a little like ex-boyfriend gaslighting going on. Yes, I agree.
He's the type of guy that enters a fucking room, and if there's the smallest argument about anything, he's going to win. Like, if you're like, dude, no, it's an inch. He's like, no, it's 1 3/4 inches. And I'm going to fucking tell you why. And he just wins every argument because at some point, people just give up and walk out of the room.
He has no business acting that condescending and arrogant the way that he looks. He has no business acting that way. Just saying.
Fucking douchebag. Mazza Media, Judson Welcher, level of arrogance and disdain for answering the questions, asked him of it diminishing in how he always admitting the highest level of offense. You can tell that he's not accustomed to having any of his work questioned. I agree.
Good point. That's a good point.
Great point. Steven is here. Barista, would you like anything in your coffee? Welcher, your question doesn't make any sense. There's already water in my coffee, as well as the particulars from the filter, air, and etc. So there's already is stuff in my coffee. We got another one from Ted. This fucking guy Welcher is an all-time gas bag. My tweet went out today, so Welcher's a complete knob. I like this one too. Valerie says, Alessi, how many times did you change your presentation, Dr. Welcher? And then it had this computing like modem dial-up video that she had. It's pretty funny. And then we have the tale of two tweets. So I'm gonna get into John DePietro a little bit here. DePietro says, in my opinion, this afternoon has this demonstration. In my opinion, this afternoon has just demonstrated what a true expert Dr. Welcher is. I don't think it was wise move by the defense to try and out-expert the real expert. Then he goes into talking about the jury. If people want to pretend this cross is effective, be my guest. The jury looks bored to me. You got Sue O'Connell in there actually talking about, one juror is holding up their clipboard, taking copious amounts of notes. Some jurors are definitely following this testimony. All jurors have been awake and alert since I entered the courtroom. So we're getting the tale of two worlds. Jess, what's your comment on this fucking clown? I can't anymore.
My comment is, don't worry, I will be in there next week and I will literally watch what's happening, and then I will use my fingers and I will type it onto my screen and then send it out into the webinar world, and you will all know exactly what's happening. No extra, nothing like I can't, don't worry. If John's not in there next week, I'll be in there next week, and we'll get like a better actual dose of what's happening with jurors. And also, I mean, I saw Sue said something today. I think she's like, I'm not a mind reader. She never, will, make the assumption of what these jurors are thinking. She has some really great calculated thoughts on some of them. Like, for example, she was saying she thought that one of the jurors may be in the medical industry because that during testimony about anything medical or like John's injuries, that person seemed to be like very interested. So she has some like really great quality points about jurors, unlike John DePietro, who literally just makes things up and is just like, yes, this is what this juror is thinking. It's so ridiculous. And we'll just, get some normalcy again next week. And I'll be in there, and Aiden will be too. So.
All right, let's get into the randomizer, because I find it awfully funny. Since you've been calling it out, and Mazda Media's done a great job. I want to give credit to Mike the Young Jerks, myself. We've all been supporting you and Aiden in all of this. And, I saw your tweet today about being down this deep hole with the randomizer and running, I guess, some tests. Tell us a little bit about this. What were you thinking? And what were you doing?
So I'm at my desk and I'm like, you know what? Let me just go online and find a randomizer and let me start doing my own. This actually is now turning into a much bigger project because there's a lot of different variables that come into play, but like I'm working on all of those. But I wanted to push back on some people.
Unlike Dr. Welcher's testimony, there's other random things that take into this. But anyway, it was a bad joke.
Correct. I'm a scientist, really. I work, this is my industry now. Like people pushing back and saying, should you question, the randomizer or whatever. Let me just put this in perspective. You're talking to somebody who knows for a fact that the Commonwealth partnered with Lindsay Gattani to frame Aiden Carney so that he could go to jail. So I know that. I have seen and read and watched and looked at all of the evidence surrounding that, right? And I know that a member of the Commonwealth in Ken Mello worked with Lindsay Gattani to essentially frame Aiden. And you want me and Tully. And
we just found out Tully has been picking up the fucking witnesses for the Commonwealth at the airport.
Yeah. So you want me to blindly trust a system that would allow people to get in and report on what's happening inside the courtroom in the murder trial of Karen Reed? You're crazy. I question everything. It's not that I think people are unprofessional. It's not that I think that people are corrupt. It is that I have seen that it is possible. And therefore, I think that when things don't feel right, my radar goes up and I have every right to question that. Not only that, there is zero transparency with this randomizer. We have no idea where it is happening. Now, we're going to, because there are multiple people that are going to be submitting, records requests. Whether we get them or not, I doubt it. But to me, and I say this all the time with government and politics when I do all of these other investigative pieces, if you don't want anybody to question what the fuck you're doing, then make it completely transparent. Show us everything so nobody questions you. If you care that much about your integrity and you care that much about people saying that you're not doing things above board, then fucking do it in the light and don't hide it, because when you don't do that, it leaves the door open for people to have questions. And I mean, as you can see, you know, the theories are abounding, but like I started bitching and complaining about this. And then the 1 week that I do, John DePietro's not in, Grant's not in, and I'm in and Aiden's in. I mean, like, okay, girl math, that doesn't add up to me. So
yeah, John
I don't know.
DePietro, 71% of the time, we know he goes on and spills a bunch of bullshit on Court TV. And I'm going to get into that fucker again, too, because I got some new updated tweets I want people to look at. This guy's a fucking clown, and I'm going to call Court TV out, too. You're a fucking clown show. You're allowing this to go on. You're allowing this guy to come on, and he's tweeting all this bullshit and reporting bullshit, and then you're allowing him to come on and do your program, and, like, I just don't get it. He's not adding anything to the conversation, and they're giving this guy a platform. I mean, it's not even close.
Well, listen, we saw it happen very early on last year, but like every news company or outlet that's talking about this needs the other side. They need the adversary. They need that person. And there aren't a lot of people that are going to be willing to go on record and, you know, lay into Karen for the number one reason is she's most likely not going to get convicted. And so you're going to be on the wrong side of this. And all of the things you say historically will not hold up, right, over time, because she's not going to go to jail. So it's hard to find somebody that would go all in on this. So you're left with characters like Grant and John DePietro, who like obviously suffer from like moral fiber and like, you know, character. So these are the kinds of people that are going to go all in and say, sure, let me get on TV, let me get on Court TV, and I'll be that guy for you. It's okay. Because they just don't care about anything.
And they just do it for the opportunity to try to elevate their platform. If I could be the bad guy in this and I go on and Court TV wants me to come on, oh, sure, yes. I'll come on because, oh, look, it's going to get all eyes on me, and I can play the bad guy in this, you know. I'm going to tell you.
Working for these guys.
Yeah, but a lot of that shit doesn't translate, because I'm going to tell you right now, look at Kevin from Yellow Cottage Tales. He was on Court TV all last year, and look at his platform. It never grew. It never fucking grew. So,
well, he's just aggressive and mean. And I was, again, grew up watching and listening to John DePietro, and I had a lot of respect for him as a conservative, and he was on the same side of those things. However, you know, my real issue with John simply is based on he's just not factually reporting. So, you know, there are people that can listen. We talk about this. Sue O'Connell is on the opposite side of the political spectrum than I am, and we can get along because I respect her for being honest with her tweeting and her work. John, unfortunately, he's just not giving accurate information.
Yeah, no, I agree. Aiden had some things to talk about it today. He said, you know, look, I feel bad for him. He said live on his show last night, he's like, you know, I wonder if I can make it down to court. If I can get there before Sue, I probably can get in. So he gets, from what I believe and understand, a babysitter to come and watch his kids in the morning, jumps in his car. It took him fucking 2 hours to get there. And I know about that traffic because I've sat in it. 2 hours to get there. He actually calls the court clerk 20 minutes before he gets there. They save the spot. And then he gets there and they're like, oh, no, you didn't make it in.
So I'm going to need some clarification on this because neither Sue nor Aiden were on the reserve list. So they weren't part of the first 10, and then they weren't part of the 3 afterwards. So did something happen while I've been kind of MIA that now if you wait in another line or there's another list, then you can get the passes left over after that? Like, and also had I known about that, like I would not be home all week. I would be up there, you know, waiting to get in line. So where's the communication? I mean, you know, Brian, I like really didn't want to talk shit about like the public information office because I depend on them to get me in the courtroom, and not just this case, other cases. So I don't want to fuck with them, but also like, where's the communication? There is no communication. They fumbled it last year. They fumbled it this year. And also, and I maintain this, if they had done their job last year, if these people had put protocols in place, if they had made there be some sort of reasonable standard for media and how they were getting in there, none of what happened with Grant would have ever happened with me. I should never be, and I don't know if I've been on your show since, but obviously my restraining order against Grant has been renewed for a year. That took no time at all. You know, I testified. Grant tried to, Grant apologized. I don't know if I've even talked about this, but he apologized in the courtroom, and he said that he had a lapse of judgment and that he would never do this again and that we could trust him. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I have a video of him being told by a state police officer, don't go over here. And then he went there and they had to physically move him back, right? So Grant should not have a press pass. He should not be given access to this space. He is not following rules. He has put his hands on people. He has an active restraining order against him from another member of the press. Why he's even allowed to submit his name is beyond me. And this is just like a lack of leadership with the court system that I think is going to get somebody hurt over time. I'm telling you, I should never have to go to court and ask for help to keep me safe from some guy while I'm in a courthouse, working and covering a trial. That's crazy. It's crazy. And the more I think about it, the more upset I get about it. I'm not into like being a victim, Brian, but like they should have done more to stop this back a year ago so it wouldn't happen again.
I mean, could it be this? Knowing that it was such a local case at the time, knowing that Aiden blew this wide open, knowing that he would have he got his press credentials to sit in that courtroom, knowing that a lot of independent journalists in this area that are very supportive pro Karen Read would be sitting in there and reporting about it. Let's keep them out and get the legacy media in here and just keep pushing these aside. And because the story is not going to be told from the perspective that we want from the Commonwealth. Could it be something like that too?
I don't dispute that theory. Every theory is on the table for me. I'll be honest with you. I do not trust anybody. This is why I always go back to Aiden's case. I go back to the situation with Lindsay. I go back to that whole Ken Mello situation and to watch them use every tool they had at their fingertips to manipulate a situation, to put somebody in jail and take him away from his family. That to me, and that doesn't even go back to the stuff that I've experienced. Again, like I've said this before, I've never told my whole story about the restraining order that someone had against me and the court case and the charges, all of which were dropped. But when I have been able to see the system and people of authority manipulate it, use their power and get what they want to keep people down who speak louder than everybody else, anything is possible. So I trust absolutely no one. Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's and look at, I even had my struggles when I tried to get my press credentials. I've signed up 5 times in the last year and a half. They will not give them to me. And a lot of it I feel is because I cover the Karen Read case. They don't want to give it to me. And they were trying to make me jump through hoops. And they're like, oh, you're not credible. You're not writing. I'm like, I have my own fucking website. I have a YouTube channel. I know they don't take that as credibility. I have an X account that I'm tweeting every day on. So I'm out there. I'm talking about this. I'm writing stories about it, but I'm not credible enough. So I don't know.
There's no rhyme or reason to it. And I think it has to get bigger and blown up more before there's some sort of change. I think right now people are just letting a certain small group of people kind of handle this stuff. Post trial, I'll be making some moves, but for now, I'm not saying I'm going along to get along, but I am kind of. So,
yeah. It's just been a while. I'm sorry. I'm reading something here. Some breaking news that came out about the buffer zone really quick. So breaking, U.S. District Attorney Judge John has enjoined state police from further violating First Amendment rights of citizens in the Norfolk Superior Karen Read trial buffer zone in Dedham, Massachusetts. Buffer zone orders, as applied, deprive that the protesters of their rights to conduct constitutionally protected speech activities. The judge wrote in a 20-page decision, quote, prior to the enforcement, law enforcement officers must be able to clearly articulate without speculation how the individuals violated the buffer zone orders. Consistent with the decision, the judge said a woman's sweatshirt with the words criminals control Norfolk County did not violate the state's judge buffer zone order. The court found the court found, but the judge ruled her hat in the letters of Free Karen Reed for FKR for Free Karen Reed was distinguished to influence jurors, and it's prohibited in the zone. Quote, taken together, plaintiffs have shown a likelihood of success on their claim that the buffer zone orders, as applied, deprived protesters of their rights and conducted constitutionally protected speech activities, the judge ruled. Wow. That's huge. You know, maybe we're just starting to fucking come around here a little bit. Maybe these judges are starting to open their eyes a little bit more. You know,
I believe
go ahead.
What I think is that people don't anticipate people fighting back. People don't anticipate people fighting or questioning or digging in and saying, you know what? No, I'm going to fight that, or I'm going to question that. They just say, you know what? Most people are lazy. Most people have a lot of reasons for not speaking up. What I love about some of these Free Karen Reed people is they don't care. They don't have a lot to lose. They don't care. You know what I mean? And like, to a certain extent, like, you really kind of have to be that way to get some stuff done and to accomplish stuff. And that's why, like, people like me and you and Aiden, I feel like we owe it to our followers to kind of do this kind of work, because a lot of followers can't. A lot of people have jobs and families, and they're in positions that they can't say or do something. So like, I always feel like I'm fighting for the besties because they can't. And so like, these people, you know, this group that's been questioning this buffer zone, they're doing it for everybody. And it's like God's work, I think, you know, so bravo to them for really kind of sticking with it and fighting all the way as far as you can. I think that's so important.
Yeah, it's almost like we're going back to our traditions that started like 250 years ago, when some wise old men got pissed off, ran up on some boats and kicked some tea into the harbor and said, you know, we don't want taxation. We're not going to be under the government rule anymore. And it's just so funny, as I talk about this all the time, is that we were a state and a republic that pushed back against tyranny. And I think we've become one of the most tyrannical fucking states in the country, probably besides California. But it's amazing how that.
I think people get complacent, and I mean, outside of this, like just with politics and political corruption and things, first of all, the systems get so big and so far away from the regular average person that it's almost like so hard to even get the answers and get the information. Like public records requests, for example, you know, like if we want a public request, like all of the randomizer bullshit, like, are we going to get it? And, you know, I'm sure I'll send in a records request and it'll be like, oh, our office doesn't have that. You got to go to another office, and you wait and wait and wait. And like, these systems are so big, they're so convoluted, they're so far away from us that it's hard to even look at it and say, can I get this information? Or so people, it's hard. People just give up. That's why like this buffer zone thing, I was like so jazzed about it, because I was like, you know what? I bet nobody expected them to do that. Nobody thought that they would like fight it. And, you know, RanDUMBizer, if I'm saying his name right, like the fact that he like jumped in on this and is helping these people out. I mean, it's great. And it's great visibility for him and his work too. I'm sure he'll get a lot of work out of it.
Well, because no one legally challenged it the first time. So they just went, well, we'll just do it. And guess what? We'll push the boundaries even more, and fuck them. We'll back them up even further. And they're never going to do anything. And then they got a lawyer that got in tune with what was going on and said, fuck that. We're going to push back. I'll help you. So
yeah,
I love it. I love it. Good for them.
I mean, just nothing for nothing, but like, you've been there, so you've seen and you'll know what I'm talking about. And I'm sure many of your followers have been to the courthouse, but like, we've never see jurors. Like how Erica's hat, like I would even argue that, like how is her hat with that like 1-inch FKR on the back going to ever get in the eyesight of a juror? Like it's never going to happen. Like it's actually improbable. So how is that influencing a juror who is not outside there, not in front? They're taken out the back, they're in a bus, they're driven away. Like how is that going to influence a juror in any way? They could never even inadvertently see that. That's crazy to me.
And let me say something, Jess. You don't think that on the way to fucking court and leaving court, they don't see a free Karen Reed sign somewhere. They're fucking all over Massachusetts.
I maintain it's absolutely impossible for any of these jurors to have never seen or heard anything about this case.
Yeah.
There's just no way. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And just for the people that don't live in Massachusetts, it's literally everywhere. I have a free Karen Reed sign in my window here at the studio. And I tell people when they drive by to beep, I hear beeps at least 4 or 5 times, like as my show is going on.
I don't know who's responsible for the free Karen Reed yard signs that went out with the QR code, but I think like from the time, like I drive my daughter to school in the morning. Now, granted, I go through Dayton, which is where the Reeds live, but like, I think I'll count tomorrow for everybody, but I think from the time I leave my house until the time I get to my daughter's school, I think I see like 8 free Karen Reed signs. Like they're everywhere. Yeah.
It's everywhere. All right, let's turn here. We'll talk about John DePietro and his fucking really shit reporting. So anyway, last week I caught this motherfucker, and this is what pisses me off, is that, you know, people like you, people like Aiden have been kept out of the courthouse. This guy shows up at 10:30 in the morning, just strolls in, casually takes his jacket off. It's not even ready for court. And all those other reporters have been there since 9 o'clock because I watched the video. They're sitting and they're waiting for court to start. They're present. They want to get the story. They're taking notes. They're observing things that are going on. They're reporting. But this fucker comes in at any time that he wants, and it holds up a seat. It's holding up a seat. So he was on one of his live shows talking about, I was in the courtroom. So I decided to tweet at him, and I cut the video of him randomly strolling in at 10:30 a.m. sidebar. I said, hey, John, you think you'd be able to show up on time next week instead of casually strolling in during a sidebar? There are journalists like Doc Turtleboy and Jess Machado who've been covering this case from the start and actually care and would be there on time and ready to go. Moving on.
That's not the first time that he's late. I mean, he's perpetually kind of like wandering in. I'm not going to be critical of anybody else because these are my peers, whether they like it or not. I am their peer. However, I have never been late to court once. I am literally in the courtroom the second the doors open. I don't like to chat like during breaks. You know what I mean? Like I'm not there to make friends. You know what I mean? And while the people that represent legacy media in there are very nice people, like legacy media is poison, and I like fundamentally distrust them, and I hate everything that they stand for. And so when I'm there, you know, my job is to give an independent voice to news and what's happening. You know, everybody's very nice and nobody has mistreated me, like, you know, other than John and Gretchen and Grant, but the rest of them are fine. But like, it's unfortunate for me because in my brain, I'm thinking like these people work for companies that I literally despise. You could offer me a job tomorrow and I would never go and work for these companies. I don't care what the money is, because they own you, and it's just, it's gross. Anyway, yeah, John DePietro walks in late all the time.
It's funny that you say that because, and I'll give an example. I was down there a lot last year during the trial. Like I was literally calling into work, I didn't give a fuck. Like I was going to be there and document all of this. Right. So we start getting to the end of the trial. Now this is when all the fucking news cameras start showing up. Right. And this is when the independent media was allowed to go in that zone and we could film. They were allowing us to do it. Now they kick us out of there. We can't be there. And I know that's all by design because all those little piss ants down there cried because I was there. I had one of those dickheads with those fucking $30,000 cameras. I had my cell phone and I'm getting Karen walking in and out, giving quotes and asking her questions so I can post content on my channel. These dickheads, and there was one specific down there, I remember he bumped me twice. He started with me and he's like, hey, you need to get out of my shot. And he kept like nudging me with his camera. You need to get out of my shot. You know, shot. I fucking turned around. I'm like, motherfucker, I've been down here for the last 30 days. You just showed up today because some asshole from some major legacy media network said, go down there and get your shot. I said, I'm not fucking moving out of the way. And number two, don't fucking touch me and don't push me. Okay. Because they tried pushing me out of the way. And I will say, the hard ass fucking Stady down there. Is it Hartman or Hartlett? Hartman. He's the one that saw what this guy was doing and fucking grabbed him. You were actually standing there. He fucking grabbed him, was like, look, get the fuck across the line. I remember screaming at him, get across the line, you're out of here. And they did that, quite a few times. And they tried to get in my shot and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you haven't even been here, bro. And like I said, I confronted one of them. And actually at one point he's like, oh yeah, you're right. And I'm like, I know I'm right because I've been here every day. You haven't been here. So
it is definitely like I think, again, once in a lifetime opportunity to be down there in that scrum and like be around these people. And well, for me, it's the first time, you know what I mean? Like I've never been around a thing like this circus before. Right. So it's new and it's exciting. Some of the things before that kind of like impressed me or wowed me don't anymore. I don't have like that fanfare that I had last time around. It's actually a very serious situation where if I don't get in there and report my perspective of what I'm seeing, like it's a disservice, you know what I mean? So like, it's very important that we get different types of journalists in there to report the way that we do, especially in this situation where I think public opinion does matter a little bit in this.
Of course, I completely agree. Let's just buzz through a few more of these. And again, I apologize, everybody. My voice is just fucked tonight. My allergies are like off the chain, and I'm trying to work my way through this and give everybody a good presentation. And I want to thank Jess Machado again for joining me on Wednesday nights. She's been a godsend here over the last couple of weeks and really helped me out and giving us that, that inside perspective inside the courtroom. When I feel like a
fraud, man. I feel like a fraud. I haven't been able to give you anything.
Love you. We love you. Yes. We love you. So, John DePietro out there, just a great strategic decision by Hank Brennan to schedule this powerful witness on Monday when the jurors are fresh. Testimony is devastating to the defendant. And this guy literally is Man Shannon. He's the one that lied on his CV. And it's just more going on and on.
That tweet that you just had of John DePietro and this one here, in my opinion, 1/3 of the jury, like this is crazy. This is crazy. Like I would be never so bold as to make these types of statements or assumptions. Like you are not a fucking mind reader. This literally screams you are trying to control the narrative. First of all, this is crazy to me that he thinks opinion actually should matter in this because like, it's not going to change the jury unless the jury's reading this. You know what I mean? Which they may be, who knows? But like giving an opinion like this is wild because easily it could be disputed post-trial. If a juror starts talking, be like, you know what? I never thought that, or I don't know anybody that thought that. Like going hard on these things right here is just wild to me. He's crazy. He's like Geraldo Rivera. He reminds me of Geraldo Rivera. Do you remember him, or are you're too young for that? Geraldo Rivera.
Yeah. How about this, Jess? Let's just read it. In my opinion, 1/3 of the jury are not college graduates. 50% are not on LinkedIn. And this is no idea that the defense is talking about. How about this? Are you fucking sizing people up because of the way they look?
Yes.
That's racism.
Yes.
That's a racist statement. You're sizing people up by the way that they look from their exterior. Right. That is a racist statement, what he said.
Could be. Statement.
It's pretty disgusting.
I mean, listen, I'm guilty of it too. Vineyard Vines. The guy wore Vineyard Vine shirts. Those are costly. I know how much. Look, I got my Lily Pulitzer popover today. I know how much these cost. This is my homage to Judge Bev because I know she wears her like Lily Pulitzer dresses under her robe. So I did wear this, but I mean, I think human nature is to size up people and take a look at, their exterior and try to like figure out where they fit in society. And then therefore, how would they think about something? I think one of the best things about the last trial is that I was proven wrong so many times. So it's really great to like, kind of like learn, like it's not necessarily about how they look. Or remember I said I thought I had that juror Vineyard Vines. He seemed completely disconnected. I was 100% convinced he knew Karen was innocent right from day one. He didn't write any notes. Turns out he did have his mind made up, but it was in the opposite way. So you never know. But John is a mastermind. He just knows everything. I'm so jealous of his ability to see the future and understand what people are reading, and how, reading their minds. It's what a talent.
Then we'll get a little bit more here. You put this tweet out when Dr. Klopek was on the stand. Witness of the day, possibly the week. Dr. Wolf testified that John O'Keefe died from his head slamming into the frozen ground after being struck by Karen Reed's SUV. Inimpeachable witness. Prosecution heads in a long weekend with a bombshell. That's a lie. He never said that. He never said frozen ground. I said, John, you're flat out lying. Wolf never testified to John O'Keefe's injury being caused by hitting the head on frozen ground. During direct examination, Brennan attempted to introduce the phrase cold hard ground, suggesting it refers to the yard at 34 Fairview, but it was objected to, and Bebb sustained the objection. Additionally, Wolf never testified that John O'Keefe is struck by Karen Reed's SUV. And he, again, unless he's doing his best, and posting this fucking bullshit.
Wait, what is this tweet? What does this say?
Drunken
with all the talk about LinkedIn?
And he goes, oh, I don't know if this is really your LinkedIn account. Really, John? Like, come on, dude. And then, of course, we already talked about that. And he's featured on Court TV. I mean, they're allowing him on Court TV. This is what you're watching. John fucking DePietro on Court TV. All right,
I mean,
Jeff.
I just want to say for the record, I don't watch. I don't watch Court TV unless I'm watching the live stream. I don't listen to their commentary. I'm not wasting my time on that kind of stuff. It's just kind of like, I don't know. So, I mean, it's great for him. This is like John's shining moment. He peaked like 10 years ago. He's trying to like make a resurgence and make himself relevant. This is a good vessel for him. And he's definitely going to have that core group of people that believe what he says. And it's great. What life is like for John DePietro post verdict, I'm not sure we'll ever see or hear from him again.
Hopefully. All right, let's get into Jenny. And I'll tell you, I was saying to Jess backstage, this photo just looks like a man in transition. Just had to put that out there. And you go for it, girl.
Who, me or her?
No, I'm saying her.
Oh, good. Listen.
You go, girl.
Everybody, you go, Glenn Coco. Everybody needs good selfies. Everybody wants to feel good when they're posting pictures of themselves. Nobody's posting bad photos of themselves, Brian.
Where
so
she
looked at this, and this
There's
is
like on the wall.
What?
It looks like graffiti on the wall. Like, where are you? It looks like a prison cell.
That's very interesting, actually. I don't know where she is. I bet the internet could figure that out. Somebody's going to be able to.
Oh, please do. All right, let's go through this, Jess. Can you read my screens? My voice is fucking shot.
I can. So this is what's the best nickname for her? This is Jen Coffin Daffer's recent post, and she said, someone recently asked me why I've never spoken fondly of Karen Reed, and I actually thought this was like very interesting because to get behind the person who doesn't like Karen Reed, I'm here for it. It says below are my top 10 reasons why I don't sing her praises. Number 1, she said she hit John O'Keefe and left him on the cold. I mean, she's saying this. This is fact, right?
Right.
2, she blamed innocent people for her actions, falsely alleging that they murdered John. So again, this is all wrapped up in the whole thing. She has tormented John's family with her ugliness as they weep for John. What does that exactly mean? Like what? Karen is on trial, so just her existence and being in the courtroom is torment to John's family. Like they want her there. Like the O'Keefe family wants justice for John by Karen being convicted. So if Karen's in the spotlight and Karen is in their face, literally, it is solely because this is what they've chosen. They want her held accountable. And her ugliness, I mean, Karen is just very attractive. I don't understand this. 4, she has shown not 1 ounce of sorrow or love for John. This is kind of weird for me because I can, okay, so we're in this trial and we're in trial 2. Does anybody think that there aren't moments where Karen isn't mourning the loss of John? She must be. But why do we or anybody expect that she do that publicly at all? Not only that, but she's in a defensive position, right? She's fighting for her life. And I don't think we've ever seen the real Karen Read. We are seeing someone that is like a caged animal fighting for freedom, fighting for release. And why would we see a truly vulnerable Karen Read? She's not going to give that to you. She's not letting her guard down. So just because we haven't seen her mourn does not mean that she hasn't. Keep in mind, she couldn't go to his funeral. She couldn't go through the process. If she did not kill John, she has been robbed of the process of mourning the loss of her boyfriend and someone that she loved. Regardless of the Higgins bullshit, I don't care about that. I have exes, and if they died tomorrow, knock on wood, I would cry. It doesn't mean that there wasn't love or there wasn't a relationship or a connection. So I thought that was crazy that she put that up there, that she hasn't mourned John.
Yeah, and let's just think of it on the reverse side too. Let's just say she was going to John's headstone every day and doing this openly mourning. They would just get on her about that and go, "Oh, she's just acting. She's just acting. It's just a big act for the cameras." Blah blah
Great
blah
point.
blah blah.
Great point.
How they would
She said, even people who never knew him have the capacity to empathize with his death. Again, like, you have no idea what Karen's headspace is about this. 5, she cheated on John with his friend Brian Higgins. I believe, if I'm correct, neither one of them admitted to sleeping with the other. I think it was a kiss and like some flirty, pathetic, cuck-like conversation from Higgins. I don't consider that cheating. Especially they weren't married. So
yeah, and is Brian Higgins really John's friend? I think they were acquaintances at best.
True. Great point. Great point, Brian.
It's not like they were like going to play fucking golf on the weekend, like Saturdays of the boys. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah, definitely not. No. She aligns herself with vile people as a means to an ends without one thought of the pain that they will cause others. First of all, Karen exists. Karen is charged. Karen is a defendant. Karen goes to court. Everything about Karen and this case has drawn people to her. Karen didn't go out and solicit these people. Karen didn't go out and, find Aiden Carney and pitch him this story and be like, you should write a blog about this. Everything came to her. And I think that she has handled this with grace. What if, like, just throwing it out there, what if Karen doesn't want to fucking have to talk to all of these random strangers who think they own her sometimes, who want to grab a piece of her? Like, do you know how hard it must be for her, like, in this whole process to maybe sometimes have to be that person and be friendly and always turn it on? She can't have a bad fucking day, because then what? Somebody's going to take a video of it or write a post about it. Like, she is on 24/7. And
while defending herself too, and actively in her defense. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. She's promoted making a mockery out of a murder trial. Where? Yeah. Nobody has made more of a mockery of this trial than Adam Lally
and Jennifer Coffindaffer.
These people, I mean, it's, listen, I would say all sides are guilty of kind of like sensationalizing this. All sides can be guilty at times of forgetting the whole reason we're here. However, it's everybody. It's not just Karen Read. She has pandered like a beggar for money from others who have far less, all while, according to her and her attorney, not using the money to pay her attorneys, but rather spending it on expensive meals, limos, high-end hotels, Botox, and a glamorous wardrobe. First of all, I do this for a living. I ask people, do you want to donate money to me and my work? If you do, here's the link. I don't shame people into donating. I don't do anything of the sort. I say, if you want to support me here. First of all, I have, and you, I'm sure too, Brian, I have donated money to GoFundMes, to Turtle Boy, I paid for a subscription to Turtle Boy a couple of years ago. I have not donated to Karen's defense fund because I don't want anybody to think like there's any issue there. But people have free will, and if they want to throw their money at her, you sound jealous, Jen, that she's able to raise all of this money. If people want to, for whatever their personal reason, what if it's like, again, like, I'm a woman and this could happen to me. I could be framed. This has happened with me in the state police or whatever. Who are you to judge how people spend their money? I don't think she's pandering at all. I think she has a really great group of people who have kind of like organized this and made it easy. Also, you have no guarantee on how that money is being spent. There's no disclosure in saying it's going to go for A, B, C, or D. It's not going to buy, Alessi's like protein bars or whatever. You're donating the money. It goes for the whole thing. If you don't want to donate, don't donate. Put up a GoFundMe for Jen Coffindaffer and see how much money she can raise for like Botox and see what you get, Jen. I don't know what to tell you, but
for her transition.
Ryan?
She's almost there in that photo. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I look at the situation too, where, I get a lot of shit. These people like, oh, using Karen Reed to fucking make money. Listen, I've been transparent. It costs me $1,000 to run this studio a month. That's all I care about. If I make $1,000 and keep LTL Media, the doors open in the studio, that's all I care about. I don't give a fuck about money. I've donated thousands of dollars to Karen Reed's defense fund. I've been open about this. I've donated to people in the community like Nanette Smith. That's a free Karen Reed supporter that is fighting a deadly fucking cancer right now. I've written checks and I've given it to her. Her meal train. I've raised billboards in my community to help raise awareness to what the fuck happened to Enrique Delgado Garcia. I have no problem writing those checks to do that. And I thank my subscribers and my audience that gives me that ability to do things like that. Do you know how much a fucking billboard costs? It's $3,500 for an 8-second snippet to put that up there for 28 days. I did 2 billboards for Enrique. I don't give a fuck, because if it raises awareness and keeps public pressure on these motherfuckers in our county, in our state, and if I can change something and get some eyes on this for people to go, hey, maybe we need to look into that, I'm proud to spend that money. I don't give a fuck. I will do it. I don't care. Because if I can change some hearts and minds and get some fucking eyes on things that go on in this state that need to change, I will do it. I will do it. I don't care.
Angry sick Brian. We're here for it. I love it.
and listen, it's all because of the people that support this platform and support independent journalists like Jess. We're able to do these things like that. I don't tell you to press the super chat button. I don't tell you to push the donation button, but I'm transparent of where my fucking money goes. It doesn't go to buying me a fucking new coat or a fucking, I invested in this studio to keep building LTL Media. That's where my money goes. Anyway,
yeah, I think there's a lot of people that have made money off of this, and I don't get at anybody for that at all. I think it can be lucrative. I think if you're doing it in the right way, I think it's there and it's fine. I mean, I make money off of my work. That's it. I don't know how else to say it. If people don't support me, I won't be here anymore. I am going to go get a regular job, and I will not be, covering stories like this anymore. So if people see value in it, so fun fact, like there's my sister works for the courthouse in New Bedford, right? I'm not going to give any more information, but she works at a courthouse. And like when I got, I don't know, when the Karen Reed thing was starting and I wasn't sure if I was going to get it or whatever and all this stuff, I sent a text to a friend of mine and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go get a job working at the courthouse. And every time like I get a bunch of new followers or I hit a benchmark, they send me that screenshot of me saying, fuck it, I'm going to go work at the courthouse. And they're like hell you are. You're not going to go work at the courthouse. Let me push through Jen's final things. She has, that was about the money. And then she says, while true victims of police corruption like Sandra Birchmore suffered death and deserve justice, she has lied about there being corruption in this case, pulling the spotlight from true victims. First of all, we clearly know that there is a cross Like there's people who worked on the Birchmore case that work on this case. So it's some of the same people. You can't, gatekeep corruption to just Sandra Birchmore, who's not here anymore. Like it's very similar. It's state police, some bad apples, not every police officer, and corruption and cover-ups and lying, just lying. She can't gatekeep that and say, well, the Sandra Birchmore case is a real story and the Karen Reed story is taking the spotlight from it. First of all, as soon as the Karen Reed story is done, the Sandra Birchmore story will probably just be picking up and that trial will be starting. And we'll be able to focus on that one and give it the spotlight that it deserves. But you can't gatekeep these things, Jen. Sorry. And the last one got me.
Oh, yeah.
She isn't a good soul, and I see right through her. I love this. I saved that to my phone. How do you know? How do you know? Nobody knows who this woman is. Nobody knows Karen. Nobody knows her like her family. Nobody knows her like her friends. And she's got a lot of friends. She's got her family, I told you, is constantly giving her hugs and there's affection. It's not for show. How do you know that she doesn't have a soul? I think that's crazy. So she's got a lot of soul. It takes soul to get up every day and walk in there and put on a face and put on makeup and put on an outfit and have some self-respect while you're being dragged through the fucking dirt every day, where you have to watch people lied about you 5 feet away from you. You have to watch people like Jen on the stand lying again and again and repeating a narrative that could ultimately end her life and put her in jail. Like, talk about soul. I mean, she's got it all day long. So I think Jen's top 10 list is absolutely crazy. I'm going to make my own top 10 list. And we'll see which one gets more views and likes and retweets. But that one's pretty harsh, Jen. Not good.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Let me give you a couple chats and then we'll wrap this one up. Angie Waves $4 says, thanks, y'all. I have to do a late watch and I could not believe this guy couldn't quantify his data query and the application scientists are streaming. El Diablo 5 says, hit by a car, picked up by a bike, both times, contact, front headlight, driver's side, 30 miles an hour, cracked head, and only a few broke off, nothing shattering. Interesting. Angie Waves again, $5. Oh, I already got that one. Let's see. Tsunami says Aperture is the Aperture LLC, the Fire Festival of Forensics. I love that.
That's great.
Yeah, that's good. Kelly, $5 says, I think the Commonwealth thinks Karen turned into mortar from the cars and goes backwards, forwards in a snowstorm. Kelly again. Jess, are you going to make it back into Courtroom? The reporter's in there now, or for the birds? Give us no good information on the jury. Yours is way better. She's going to be in there next week. Yeah,
I'll be in there next week.
Nicole, $5. Are you guys nervous about jury tampering? Appreciate y'all. I mean, listen, I think it's always the question of it could happen. I understand that. But from my perspective of what I've seen, I think there's a lot of jurors that have made up their mind already. Jess has been in there as well. And reported back on how they're feeling. I think Sue O'Connell's done a great job in the presence of like Jess not being there and kind of giving her impressions of the jury. Obviously, we saw that today with some of her tweets. So can it happen? Of course. But I'm feeling like, the polls that I see, the conversation that I see, the new wave of like the TikToking and all that stuff, I don't think people are buying this shit. And I'd probably, say, right now, I mean, I can't put a number on it, but I feel like a lot of the jurors are just not buying this right now, in my opinion. Jess, what do you think?
I just can't wait to get back in there. So to answer that question, yes, I'll be in next week. I'm one of the 10. Aiden has the first listed reserved, so he should get in because we've seen a couple of them on the list that haven't made it and, don't show up. So I can't wait to get my eyes on the jury again and just start looking at things, looking at body language and kind of comparing it to where we were a couple of weeks ago and then seeing if I can, interpret those things as anything. So we've got to see. Jury tampering, I think, is an option in every single solitary case. Yeah. I trust No one. And it's not like a conspiracy theory. Again, we have tangible evidence of the Commonwealth interfering in cases and manipulating things. And, you know, if you haven't familiarized yourself with the case with Lindsay Gattani and Ken Mello, and I mean, it's possible there are people who follow Karen Reed who don't know about this. You must read about it. And you will be blown away with what these people did to get this guy in jail. And they just lied. So yeah, anything's possible. Jury tampering too.
I agree. Law and Order, $2. Thank you, says Dr. Welp equals RIP Science and Engineering. Thank you. MMG, and thank you so much. $5. Glad to see you both here. We love you both, Jess and B. Thank you. Erica Madden. Oh my God, Star Drive-In. I love you. I'm on a diet right now. I'm getting down to my back to my weight. I wish I could go there because I love your pizza. It's so good. But I'm going to tell you this. After I get to my goal weight, and I was just saying this to Lauren today, I want fucking pizza bad. I'm going to the Star Drive-In and I'm getting myself a pizza. I promise you. And thank you so much for the $20. Says, hey, Brian, miss your face. Love Jess too. Good show tonight. Thank you. And then DH says $10. Who remembers Dr. Spiegel from Depp and Heard? Today's expert had his energy. Yeah, I do.
I do. Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
All right, Jess. Well, it was nice to see you again. And I can't wait to get you back in that courtroom. And then we get some jury reactions next week when we do our show.
Let's hope we have a full week. We want 5 days of testimony, full days, 9 to 4 every single day. We want Monday through Friday, no early. Although Friday, my son graduates high school, so I will be leaving half day Friday, or at least like by 2 o'clock. So we want long days. We want full days. I'm ready. I will be there early. I can't wait.
I love it. I love it. That is Jess Machado. And this is the Wednesday night rundown. We do this every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. We just had to bump it a little bit to 8:30 tonight, but that's fine. But you can find us here Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come over and see Jess. She's been going to get back in the courtroom next week, which is great. And I can't wait to hear her rundown next week. Please tell us where we can find you and support you, Jess.
You can find me on Twitter at Jess Machado Show. I also have a Jess Machado Show Substack. And my YouTube channel is there waiting for people to subscribe. I haven't put anything yet, but we're working on a studio. It's a slow go, but you can look at my YouTube as Jess Machado Show as well. So type that in, you'll find me anywhere, and you can give me a follow, and you'll be able to see everything next week that I see, and make sure you guys get a 24 at 24, by the way. If you're not on Twitter Spaces, it's just an audio, and I do a ride home from trial recap every day, and I'm obsessed with it. It's 24 on 24. My besties, I miss them. I'm going to be looking for some people to be like admins of that so that they can join and they can read out loud, because I can't say it, but I take this phone that I'm using right now. I have my seatbelt on. I put the phone here on my chest, and then I can't see or I can't touch it because I'm hands-free, and I'm just like doing my rundown. So I'm going to need somebody to get like an admin role, right? And then they're going to read out loud the questions, and then I'll answer them. So if you're interested in that, I know I had a couple people, but I'm looking for somebody every day for 24 and 24, a different person every day to kind of come in and read the questions so I can answer them. And we can have some really good 24 and 24s. So
if I'm free on one of those days, I will help you. I promise.
Yes, that would be great.
And I'm telling you, you got to check out Jess's 24/20, because she's leaving the courthouse. She gets in traffic and she's like, "Motherfucker, let me out! I love it. It's just the best.
I need to actually put a camera on, and you guys can see how it is, because like you guys know what Boston traffic's like, and like the 93 split, it's this mayhem, and people are just like degenerates. So yeah, but I can pivot away from that so fast and be like, anyway, in the courtroom today, and then I'm like flipping people off. So yeah, you've got to listen. It's fun.
I love it. And I will put all of Jess's contact information after this video post in the comment section, so you can go over and support and subscribe to her and support her. Please do. She's such an amazing talent and has inspired me through her journalism to get better at what I do. And that's why I bring all these amazing people on my channel. I love and respect Jess. And I thank you again for doing this, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
And Brian, thanks for always having like a great platform. Like I say it all the time. I'm not good with this stuff. I like to just chat, and like you bring it every week. It's professional. It's structured. It's like you value everybody's time. It's just like you're a real asset. So thank you for inviting me every week. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, besties.
All right. That is Jess Machado. Again, you can find her on Twitter or X at Jess Machado Show. And I'll post all her links down in the comments. That's going to be it tonight for the Wednesday night rundown with Jess. I can't wait until next week. Things are getting spicy again in the Karen Reed retrial. And I know you'll all be here on next Wednesday. Tomorrow night, I will be streaming at 9 p.m. We're going to run through Dr. Welcher. I call him like Welches, because it's that fucking grape juice, because I keep thinking of Blue Man Group. But if my voice is good and solid, we're going to be streaming tomorrow night and going through some of his bullshit testimony. And we'll see everybody tomorrow night on Thursday Night Thunder. Again, I'm Brian, it's LTL Media. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.